As the last sentinel crossed the heavy stone steps of Versailles, darkness swallowed the resplendent galleries. That necklace, adorned with 2,800 diamonds, refracted a light, dazzling, intoxicating, yet possessed of a murderous chill under the moon. Jeanne de Valois Saint-Remy hid within the shadows, her fingers trembling with a volatile mixture of ecstasy and dread. Tonight, by the rhythmic flicker of the hearth, let us step into the true odyssey of her life. She was once a waif begging by the wayside, yet she insisted that the most noble Valois blood flowed through her veins. With a staggering deception, she dragged the exalted Queen Marie Antoinette into the abyss of ruin. History brands her a fraud, a temptress, yet few have truly glimpsed the desolate wasteland within her heart. This is a story of resentment, of scarcity, and of a soul throwing its last dice, a final sigh exhaled into a chaotic era. She never possessed the true Versailles, yet within the folds of history, she left a riddle that remains, even now, not entirely unraveled. Before the affair of the diamond necklace shook the foundations of France, Jeanne was merely a phantom wandering the periphery of power. Clad in old gowns washed to a faded white, she frequented the salons of second-tier nobles. Despite her penury, she walked with her head held high, her features etched with a near-obsessive arrogance. To anyone who would listen, she spoke of glories entombed in family trees and the Valois lands usurped by the House of Bourbon. This obsession with identity was not mere vanity, it was the sole lifeline of a woman who possessed nothing else. She keenly perceived that within this gilded cage of a court, everyone hungered for the unattainable. Cardinal de Rohan craved the Queen's favor, while the Queen herself yearned for a liberation from her constraints. Jeanne, like a master tailor of souls, threaded the needle between these two desires, stitching a vast tapestry of illusion. She forged the Queen's correspondence and even recruited a lookalike to play the part of a phantom promise in a midnight grove. As she watched these grand personages dance upon her fingertips, what surged within her was not vengeance, but a twisted sense of fulfillment. In that moment, she felt she was no longer the abandoned orphan, but the sovereign deity of destiny. To make the lie unassailable, Jeanne had to deceive even herself. She began to frequent high-end jewelers, sweeping her gaze over treasures with a practiced, aristocratic disdain. When two jewelers appeared with a necklace originally commissioned for Madame du Barry, a piece rejected by Louis XV, Jeanne knew her moment had arrived. The necklace was too heavy, heavy enough to crush a dynasty, yet it was the perfect size to fill the black hole within her heart. She lobbied Cardinal de Rohan, convincing him that the jewels were the Queen's secret desire, his only ticket back to the epicenter of power. The Cardinal, a man of the cloth who should have possessed worldly insight, saw his intellect wither to a startling degree before the allure of power. He not only believed the clumsy forgeries but, under Jeanne's orchestration, participated in that farcical midnight rendezvous. Standing behind distant shrubbery, Jeanne watched a woman in white hand arose to the Cardinal, hearing the soft whisper, "Everything of the past is forgotten." That night, the Parisian sky was choked with storm clouds, and the wind carried the scent of wet earth. Jeanne knew there was no turning back from this gamble. She had staked her dignity, her future, and her very life upon this strand of ethereal gems. The collapse of a deception often begins with the minutest of details, like a single grain of sand jamming a precision timepiece. When the jewelers sought the first installment from the Queen as scheduled, the entire illusion shattered in a heartbeat. Queen Marie Antoinette was aghast. She had never heard of the necklace, let alone kept a tryst with anyone in that garden. An incensed Louis XVI ordered the arrest of the Cardinal, and Jeanne, the puppet master behind the scenes, was swiftly dragged from her dream. She was cast into the Bastille. The fine gowns and perfumes she once chased were replaced by frigid stone walls and moldy bread. At the bar of justice, she displayed a startling vitality, defending herself with roars and even scratching the arms of the judges. She claimed it was all a conspiracy of the powerful, and that she was the sacrificial lamb slaughtered to protect the Queen. This abnormal ferocity was, in truth, the metamorphosis of an ultimate terror deep within her. Ultimately, she was sentenced to a public whipping and branded upon the shoulder with the letter V for Volius, thief. As the red-hot iron pressed against her skin, the searing hiss and the scent of scorched flesh drifted across the square, yet Jeanne did not beg for mercy. She merely stared fixedly toward Versailles, the place she had chased her entire life but had never truly entered. Had Jeanne's story ended abruptly with the branding, she might have been remembered merely as a pathetic jester. But she was like a stubborn weed growing against the wind. Even when crushed into the mud, she insisted on blooming with toxic flowers. Miraculously, she escaped from prison, donned a disguise, and fled across the English Channel. In the dim, damp, and cheap lodgings of London, she began to pen her memoirs. With a pen dipped in venom, she provided detailed accounts of the Queen's lust and the depravity of the court, attempting to whitewash her crimes as a rebellion against corrupt power. These writings spread back to Paris like a plague, fanning the flames of unrest among the lower echelons of a society already on the brink. By now, Jeanne was more than a mere fraud. she had become the fuse for the coming revolution. The masses did not care for the truth, they required only an excuse to vent their fury, and Jean provided them with the sharpest blade. In her foreign nights, she reread her own words repeatedly, as if within those lies, she had truly become the heroine who saved France. This psychological schism gave her a hollow scaffold of support during her lonely years in London. The finale of her story took place on an utterly ordinary London morning, without flowers or applause. Rumors suggest that Jean, paralyzed by the fear of assassination by French spies, leapt from a second-story window in a fit of terror. Others claim it was merely another clumsy performance intended to attract attention, one where she accidentally gambled away her life. She died in extreme poverty and mental collapse at the age of 35. Meanwhile, across the Channel, the guillotine of the French Revolution had begun its rhythmic creaking. Queen Marie Antoinette did indeed walk to the scaffold as Jean had prophesied, and one of the catalysts was the very ignominy brought about by the diamond necklace affair. Jean de Valois-Saint-Remy, the woman who spent her life chasing an identity, finally achieved her wish in the most ironic fashion. She became eternally entwined with the name of the monarchy, though in the guise of its destroyer. After her death, her gravestone was soon swallowed by weeds, bearing no Valois crest and adorned with no queen's roses. She was like a strand of pearls dropped into a deep well, a final sharp echo, followed by a silence like death. Now, let us return once more to the dreamscape of that necklace with its 2,800 diamonds. That strand has long been dismantled, scattered, and worn away into dust. No one shall ever look upon its full splendor again. Much like the life of Jean de Valois-Saint-Remy, it was a tapestry of patched remnants and hollow glimmers. What was she truly chasing in her life? Was it a shred of pitiful dignity, or a sense of security she never held? Perhaps in the depths of every heart, there hides a Jean, struggling in resentment and fantasizing amidst scarcity. We attempt to prove our existence by possessing things, yet we often lose ourselves in the process of possession. Tonight's story concludes. That heavy necklace has drifted away with the mists of history. Let go of those unrealistic burdens. Release the illusory cravings that haunt you. Like Jean's final, quiet London morning, all clamor and lies will eventually return to the dust. Listen, the wind outside is carrying away the last of your anxieties. The moon still hangs silently upon the bow. May you find true inner abundance and peace in your quiet breathing.
Gut nicht, and may your dreams be sweet.